Hello guys, today I'm going to give you a full tutorial on how to deploy a Python application with Docker. To know what is Docker and why we use Docker, please watch our previous video. In this tutorial, I'm going to deploy this Flask application with Docker. For basic understanding, it has only one function which return hello from Python, as you can see here. Docker has three major components: Docker image, Docker file and Docker container. These three are correlated to each other. Docker file contains all the list of steps to create Docker image. Docker image have all the code and dependency, and the code present inside Docker image will execute in a Docker container. To deploy any application with Docker, first of all we need Docker file. Docker file is a text document that contains all the commands that we need to create a Docker image. Here we are using this Docker file. Here first step is defining base image. Here we are using Python 3.7 as a base image. It is a built-in Docker image. In next step, from line 2 to 5, we create virtual environment. This step is optional and only needed if we have multiple images with common dependencies. In 6th line, I created app directory where I will gonna store all code. In 7th step, I am setting this app directory as a working directory. Then in 8th line, I am adding all the code in app directory. Then installing all dependencies to run this application. I write this 10th line to establish communication between Docker and Flask. This line of code indicates that the Python application is running at port 5000. Last line is to run Flask application, which is present under app folder, which is main.py. Now I'm going to create Docker image from this Docker file. For that, write this command inside your terminal, which is sudo docker build -t, any name, -f, then Docker file name space dot. With this command we get Docker image of this Docker file. It will take some time to create. Image is created successfully. To see all images inside Docker, write sudo docker images. To see all the container inside Docker, write sudo docker ps. Currently we do not have any running container. When we run this Docker image, then we get Docker container, because all the code inside Docker image run inside Docker container. To run recently created Docker image, write sudo docker run -p dot 5000, then your image name. Our Flask application is successfully deployed with Docker.